All right, welcome back. This is ADWCTA, and you are listening to the Forged in the Barrens card preview valuation stream. We are now on B tier. We've done the four cards that were in A and S tier.
Yep. All right. We're talking about the next tier of cards. That by no means, means that they're bad. In fact, we are solidly in the Wrapped Golem / Stoneskin Basilisk tier. These are cards you are more than happy to have in your deck, and in fact, will win you a decent amount of games.
Yeah,
Uh,
they're
yeah.
just not brokenly OP that they should not be in the game as far as neutral cards are concerned. Like, they are not your twin tyrants. Rap Golem's a B plus, Stoneskin Basilisk is a B, and we're gonna go over all the B pluses first, and then we'll go over the Bs. So you can think of them as really like two separate tiers because it's quite big of a range, and you'll be making some decisions within this tier when you're drafting. Whereas the A tier is pretty auto pick. In B tier, these are going to bump up against other B tier cards.
Yep. Okay. First card. We're starting off with a little bit of spice, a little bit of controversy here, because this, I feel, is the card that we have rated like further than other reviewers. And it is the Far Watch Post. A common neutral 2-mana 2/4, can't attack. After your opponent draws a card, it costs one more up to 10. So let's go back to our discussion about the previous Watch Post. This is a B plus, by the way. All of the cards that we're going to be talking about are B plus, and remember, B plus is very, very good, like premium card. This card, it doesn't attack, but just like the other Watch Post, it puts immediate pressure on your opponent. You cannot ignore this, and it is perfectly statted to be annoying as possible. 2/4 on turn 2, and I understand it can be played after turn 2 as well, and we take that into consideration, obviously. But if this is put down on turn 2, your opponent, or if this is put down by your opponent, you should immediately be thinking that has to go. Like that can't stay on their board. I think when I've seen reviews in which they're just like, this is okay or whatever.
Most reviewers rate this no better than like slightly above average. Which, by the way, this is Rap Golem for us. This is I don't know what, like, if you're trying to like compare the like scales, this is Rap Golem. Wherever people are putting Rap Golem, like, in hindsight, I remember when Rap Golem came out, most reviewers were not high on Rap Golem. I was like, what the hell? It's Rap Golem. It's ridiculously good.
Yep.
But this is, I feel like this is heavily underrated by almost everybody who's done a review that I've seen.
Yep. So, I already see some of the.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Like, in chat, a bunch of people are like, yeah, of course, this is really good. This is super good, of course. It's not what other good arena players think, apparently. That's all I'll say.
And of course, one of the things you have to remember is this costs 2 mana as well. So this is about as good as a 2 mana card is going to get. So for those who are also making comments like, well, this isn't that good in the late game, there are very few 2-drops that are that great in the late game. This still does something. This still does something. It's still a 2 mana 2/4 as well, which is quite nice. Just think about it like this. If this is dropped on turn 2, it is an auto remove. It is game-winningly good or game-winningly disruptive. And if you're thinking, well, it's just, like the stuff I draw costs one more, I don't think you're actually internalizing and envisioning what is happening. You are losing the game if this stays on the board for just a few turns. You are not going to have the perfect curve in your hand. And even if you had your turn 3, turn 4, or whatever, you care about the stuff that you draw. And the fact that that's getting 1 mana more expensive, that's game winning / game losing. Remember, part of the reason that I valued the South Sea Scoundrel so highly was like, Arena is just lost because this one turn, I didn't have this one thing. I couldn't play this one thing. And but for that, I know I can win. because of my deck, because of my other decision making, but because of this one stupid turn in which I wasn't able to do this one thing. Well, you know what this does? It kind of ensures that that turn happens. It just ensures that that turn will happen. So if you drop this on turn 2, the other person immediately goes into, holy shit, I have to kill this. I have to kill this, but it's overstated for that turn. Well, that kind of reminds you of the mindset of the previous watch post, right? Now, it's not as good as the other watch post because
it's not even A tier. The other one was S tier.
Right. But I think this is that B plus, like really, really good score. Because if you have a card that comes down turn 2 and your immediate mindset is, oh my God, I'm going to lose the game unless I get rid of this soon-ish. And because the game losing aspect is more, it's more like ethereal.
Subtle.
Yeah, it's very subtle. It's harder to see. People might discount it a bit. And even if / when they lose, they're just like, it was something else. It wasn't the watch post. It was the watch post. It was definitely the watch post.
You're going to see that it's the watch post too, because you're going to like get a curve card and you're not going to be able to play it on curve. Like that stuff will happen too. That'll really put the nail in the coffin. But think of like freezing trap. Like you ever get something freezing trapped? When do you play it? Never. The answer is almost never. Whatever card you get freezing trap just kind of stays in your hand for like most of the rest of the game. Well, Far Watch Post does that to every card you draw, including at least one card, right? Even if it gets removed immediately, it's already done it to one card. So if it stays in the game for, Merp says a few turns, but yeah, let's say like 3 or 4 turns, it's tainted 3 or 4 cards. And at that point, that's like most of your hand. Everything gets super awkward. You just start missing things here and there, and in order to remove this, something's still got to take 2 damage, or you've got to like use a removal for 4 damage, which is all pretty damn good for a 2-drop to begin with.
These watch posts are too damn tanky.
yeah, they're too damn tanky, and the can attack is such a red herring. Like it's such like can attack cards aren't good in the arena. Okay. Like, generally speaking, yes. But something that does stuff for the rest of the game is really good in the arena, especially when it comes in the form of a 2-drop. And your opponent has no good way to remove this. Like, it does suffer in the late game. If this was something that, like, actually had very good late game applications, the way the other Watchtower has, then it would be an A-tier card, or an A+, or even an S-tier card. It doesn't. Like, it's not good.
It's getting punished for the fact that it does fall off. It falls off like fairly hard. Yes.
But that doesn't mean it falls off if you're playing it like, let's say, turn 4 with another 2-drop, or turn 5 with a 3-drop. It's still quite good then. It just falls off if you're like on turn 10 playing it. I think the applicability is a little higher than people think, but admittedly, it is not a good late game card. But like Merp says, what 2-drop is good late game, right? Like only ones that draw cards are good late game. Not ones that are 2-4. So yeah, this is one of those cards. I'm curious how good it is. I'm glad to see Chad is all on our side on Twitch chat, because I think we were both expecting quite a bit of pushback for this card. But I think we seeded the ideas that can't attack Watchtowers are good by analyzing the Mogshan one, or whatever the 3-drop one is called. That this one is a little more acceptable, right? Yeah, I mean, very good arena players are down on this card. Between, rating it as...
And by down, I mean, like, even if you rated it an average card, that's way
lower. Like, would you equivocate a Rap Golem with a Yeti? No. Like, one's game winning potentially, one is a Yeti, right? That's what calling this card an average card, or like a slightly above average card is. And then some reviewers literally have called it a bad card. Not even a below average card, but like a bad one. And it's just not. It's a good card. It's a very good card. It is a premium card that you take near the level, at around the level of a Rap Golem. And it will win you games. Probably not as much as a Rap Golem, but actually maybe. If you get it out on 2, it'll definitely win you more games than a Rap Golem. But you have a lower chance of getting it out on 2 than getting a Rap Golem out on 7. So it kind of balances out.
Yep.
Okay, so that's watch post. Draft it.
Draft it.
It's
Okay.
not hard to play.
Next B plus card that we have is Hog Rancher. This is so Hog Rancher is a common 3 mana 3/2 battle cry. Summon a 2/1 hog with rush. And if you care, the hog is cute and a beast. But the cute part is more important. But you're gonna kill it off.
You can't show it if you're watching the video. I don't have a setup to be able to do that.
Oh, that's well. No, I mean the hog looks exactly.
Oh,
as
it's
it looks
literally
there.
the hog. It's literally the same hog from the picture that's in the main picture.
Yeah, well, it's got a slightly different background. The you know, like it's just the hog, like happy go lucky right before kamikaze slams into something. You know. So look, this thing is just really good. B plus premium. You're getting a lot more than what you should probably. And the one thing that comes to mind immediately, there was this debate on Arena HS recently, actually, which asked people, would you rather have, or what do you think is better, Argent Horse Rider or Spring Rocket? And then a lot of people brought up, it's like, oh, well, Spring Rocket can go through taunt, and that's why it's better, blah, blah, blah. And it felt like a lot of the arena streamers, a lot of the people that played a lot more, they're like, well, we can't discount for the fact that Argent Horse Rider is better on 3.
Yeah.
It's like a drop, right? It's an actual drop. And you can use it to like kill off taunt, you know, like the taunt totems or all of this stuff, and keep the divine shield and whatnot. And yeah, we're not even talking about buffs. It's like, it's easy to think of all these times like, oh, but you can snipe that thing behind a taunt. But the applicability of just being able to play it on 3, that's so important. Like a lot of the card's value just comes from being able to play on that turn. So even if there's nothing to rush, you get a 3/2 with a 2/1. That's nice. You're not really giving anything up.
These are really good cards. These are cards that we call rap golems, right? These are mage scribe level cards. Like they're cards that win you games quite frequently. And Hog Rancher reminds me of the 3-mana version of Hog Steed. Like, you deal your 2 damage, and Hog Steed gives you a 1/1, and this one gives you a 3/2. So it's a better version of Hog Steed. And Hog Steed is insanely good. So you're not dealing 2 on 2, you're dealing 2 on 3, so it's not the same impact, but you get way more stats. Like, that 3/2 body is worth so much more than a 1/1 body.
Yeah. So this is a B+, and it is a fairly strong... B+. This is quite good. So it doesn't really matter. You know, we're not trying to get it exact here, but this is quite a good card that I'm saying, you know, it belongs in like the B+ tier.
Yeah.
Okay. Next card. Are we doing it by the differentiations?
Yeah, do the highest one. Like if we split it, you do the highest one. We'll just do that card here.
Sure. Okay. Let's talk about Ratchet Privateer. And this is going to be different for different classes, obviously. Ratchet Privateer is a 3-mana 4/3 pirate with battle cry, give your weapon +1 attack. It is a B+ tier for rogue.
Because you always have a weapon and it only has 1 attack. You know, rogues.
Yeah, it's just really, really good for rogues. Also, the pirate tag could potentially do something as well. It's not hard to see why this is that good. I mean, we've seen a lot of these minions that give rogues +1 attack, like Goblin, Auto Barber, etc., etc. So this is a solid B+ just for rogues. This is a B tier for like weapons classes, like actual, you know, like numerous weapons classes. And other than that, it's just a C minion because it doesn't do anything, right? So for like a mage, for example, this is just a C. It's a low C, actually.
A low C. It's a very low C. You could even call it a D+. I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, that's fine. It's like a low C for non-weapons classes. I think priest or mage is a good example. An actual B+ for rogue, because you pretty much always have a weapon. Plus, it's on curve. You know, dagger on 2, this on 3. It just works, right? And then it's going to be a B for the quote weapons classes, but you know, you don't get a weapon as a hero power. So that's sort of it.
Yep. I don't have much more to add on this.
Yeah. Okay. Next, we have Sunwell Initiate. Sunwell Initiate is a 3-mana 3/4.
By the way, note all the 3-drops. These are all B pluses, and we had just done Venomous Scorpid as an A tier. So many good 3-drops.
Yeah. Sunwell Initiate, 3-mana 3/4, Frenzy, gain Divine Shield. This is a good time to mention Frenzy is one of the new keywords, and Frenzy means the first time that this thing takes damage and survives, it has to survive, trigger whatever the Frenzy effect is. So this takes damage, it survives, like it takes 1, 2, 3 damage. Frenzy goes off, which means this gains Divine Shield after it takes the damage. I'm going to tell you right now, this was close to being like a low A for me.
Yeah.
Like very, very close. So if we're talking about like strong, like B plus cards, this for me is really strong, like super close to an A. And part of the reason is because, number one, we don't have to exactly see why. The effect is insane, but in a meta full of 3/4s, which there are a ton of 3/4s, this dominates every single 3/4. And by dominates, I mean is significantly overstated, and it is just so it's just perfect in the 3-drops matchup. Like this, because it's naturally good, and because it's so good in this specific meta with all of these good 3s, but this dominates all of the other 3s. I was so tempted to put this at an A. At the end of the day, I was like, nah. Like, you know, there's these considerations, but
it's
just know
just a 3-drop. Like, that's the problem. That's why it doesn't reach above the like rap. Like, you would have to say like this is better than a rap golem. Like, kind of like
I can't do that.
Yeah, on curve is way better than a rap golem, but once you get off curve, this kind of drops off. It's never bad. It's always good. That's why we have it as B+. Like, you guys see, right? B+ is... I know we started with Watchtower, which is kind of a weird kind of card, but you see these other cards that are making up this B+ tier. This is what you normally call... That's why we kept saying Rap Golem, right? Rap Golem. Maybe Mage Scribe is a more recent example of a B+ kind of like card, right? Like, you know, maybe like Scorpid. Scorpid would be a very low B+, if it's even a B+. But these are the cards that are super, super, super good in your deck. You are never going to see these cards and be like, oh, you know, whatever. Like, these are keys to you winning the game. And Sunwell Initiate will do that. You put it out on curve, it is a monster. Put it out on turn 10, it's kind of like a 3-drop. But it has that kind of potential. I see people in chat who are like, this is S tier. This is amazing. Like, this is what Merps was talking about the Dreamers. This is amazing if you get it out on turn 3 and your opponent doesn't happen to have a Scorpion on the other side or a 4/3 or the ability to deal 4 damage.
But ignore that.
Yeah, but there's like a 20% chance, 25% chance that they do have that, right? And if they do have that, then this is kind of a regular 3-drop. And that's not a small percent chance that they have that. Now, if they don't have that, which is most of the time, it's super good. But then you also have to have drawn it by turn 3, which is really rough.
Yep. So, this is very, very good against the vast majority of 3s. But yes, 2 of the 3s that are going to be the most popular, Basilisk, Scorpid, it's not so great against those. And it's not so great later on in the game. But on 3, against a lot of what you're going to see, which is a 3/4 dominant meta, like 3 attack, 4 mana on 3. It is so good. So at the end of the day, that's what held it back from an A. Yeah. And I think I do want to explain that. Like, A's are going to be more, slightly more just universally good, like almost pure positive effect. And here I'm just like, it's almost there.
There's enough times that this doesn't do anything compared to a Spider Tank that it holds it back.
Right. And I think because the Scorpid is a solid A, right? And here is a B+, I think we can all agree.
Yeah.
That the Scorpid is
like a high A too, right? Like it's
a high A, right? Scorpion is a high A.
This is a high B plus.
This is a high B plus.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people agree. There's like a tier of difference between those two.
Yep.
Okay, let's talk about the next B plus card. The next card, people are talking about this card as potentially being like the sleeper pick, or the one that we'd rate differently. This is Torajo Brave. It's a rare minion, 6 mana, 4/8. Frenzy, destroy a random enemy minion. So once again, it has to survive damage, but it has a health. So what the hell is it? Not surviving for 6 mana. You destroy a random friendly minion. This was one I was also like, oh man, this is a strong B plus. It is really freaking good here. Once again, you have to just kind of ground yourself, kind of control, and be like, okay, don't be a dreamer, right? There's great opportunities. It could be awkward. It could be, quote, just an overstated 6-drop that like loses stats afterwards or something, right?
So my question here, let's say your opponent has a 4/4 and you have a Torajo Brave, and your opponent throws the 4/4 into the Torajo Brave. Does it trigger the frenzy and nothing dies? Or does something actually have to die?
No, something, yeah, like that's one of the opportunities, or one of the times in which it's bad.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they throw it in, and then,
it uses up the frenzy. Nothing happens. So they have to have 2 things on the board for you to guarantee kill 1 thing. And then, if they have something that has like 5 health, let's say, and it hits into your Torajo Brave, let's say a 5/5, well, now they have a 5/1, and so, yeah, maybe you destroy the 5/1, but congrats, you've dealt 1 damage.
Frenzy doesn't care if it's like actually applicable. It just does.
Yeah.
It just happens. Like, it doesn't care if it's like, oh, there's no minion, I'm not going to Frenzy. It just does it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah. So there's so many scenarios where this comes out as like a 4/8 with a small upside that it holds it back from being better than like a Wrap Golem. But again, we're still in the Wrap Golem level. We're in the Mage Scribe level. You're not sitting there on a Mage Scribe going like, oh, what a terrible Mage Scribe. Like, a 4/8 for 6 is not bad. And a 4/8 with 6 that forces your opponent to play a little awkwardly and maybe deals a damage or 2 here or there later on is good. It's not a B plus level of good, but it's good. And this card is a B plus because you have those opportunities where you have the board. Now your opponent can't play 2 minions because you're going to throw this into the small minion. It's going to kill the big one like outright. And it's like amazing, right? Or even if your opponent has a giant minion, like the Brave will still kill it, right? Like, but just by hitting into it, it's not going to die as a health. Like, there are those opportunities, and that's what pushes it up. But it's also not like just those opportunities. There's a lot of awkwardness to this card, and there's a lot of things your opponents can do to like make this card awkward.
Yep. So look, you get a lot of stats, you get a very nice effect. It's just not going to be the amazing frenzy trigger that you think it's going to be. Quite a lot of times, but a 6 mana 4/8 by itself is okay-ish, and then the effect is definitely good, and it can put your opponent on a tough spot. I think B plus is good. Like, it's very appropriate for where this is supposed to go.
Yep.
Okay, let's talk about the B cards. So this is these are cards that are still very good. Once again, we're at like Stone Skin Basilisk levels esque. We're close to there. First, we're going to be talking about Peon. Peon is a neutral common. It's a 2 mana 2/3 frenzy. Add a random spell from your class to your hand. Now, this is what Blizzard has been doing for quite a while now. What they do is give 2-drops with either late game applicability, or it's like you just get the stats that you want to get, and then they're like, hey, here you go. Here's an extra kind of thing. It's B just because you're gonna trigger it a decent amount of times. Now we're not under any delusion that it always triggers. It's gonna trigger like sometimes. And as you'll see, there's gonna be a lot of small stuff, and people want to play two threes more than three twos. Three twos are pretty dangerous, from
Mhm.
watchtowers to the hog riders to all of that. So you're going to be preferring two threes. Now this is going to add a random spell to your hand. There's no guarantee that the spells is going to be amazing, but spells are typically good. And remember, after the core set and after all of this rebalancing, after all of that, the average spell has gotten a lot better.
Yeah. You'll see this theme. Like, random things are just better. Like, whatever conception you had of what a random card meant is different now. So Peon is better than you think it is if you are thinking in terms of the old world and the old pool. Not to mention in this meta, like in this upcoming rotation, where it's just like powerful sets, right? It's not like we're throwing in some GBG in here.
Yep. So once again, this is a 2-mana card, so it's all relative. You know, this is probably not going to win you the game that much amount of times, but that's not what the rating is. It's not like S always wins you the game. A sometimes wins you the game, and B, like,
it's adjusted for mana. Like,
yeah,
there are really good 1-mana cards too. You know, like Backstab is a really good 0-mana card. Like, is Backstab doing a ton of stuff? No, it's dealing 2 damage, but it's 2 mana. Peon does it, and remember, you don't have to kill a 2/2. Like, it's just anytime that they can't kill it in one fell swoop, you're gonna get a card. So even in the late game, like, you're thinking about a 2-drop in the late game, a must-remove 2-drop in the late game is about as good as a 2-drop can get in the late game. And this one, depending on your opponent's board, is either going to prevent your opponent from dropping stuff that they want to drop, or it's going to get a card, or it's going to eat a removal. Like, if you're going to Frostbolt, like a 2... okay, Frostbolt doesn't exist anymore. If you're going to do the equivalent of a Frostbolt, I don't know what... like, Lightning Bolt, a 2/3, when you're on a 10-mana turn, well, that Croc has done a really good job. Right? And that's what the Peon does.
Yep. Okay. So Peon is there. Next, just to reiterate, Ratchet Privateer is a B. It is a B tier for the weapons classes. So, for example, for warriors, I guess like shamans and paladins, right? It's
kind
like
of, you know, maybe it becomes a C+ tier, like adjust, right? Like,
right, adjust. But like, so warriors, it's going to be a B. It was a B+ for rogue. Just for all of you people keeping track, that's where it is. We don't have to go into it. The next card that I actually do want to talk about is Darkspear Berserker. Let's find that. Darkspear Berserker is a 4-mana 5/7 death rattle. Deal 5 damage to your hero.
hey, it's Pit Lord, but he gained a health.
But he gained a health. He lost a tag, which for neutrals you kind of don't really care about. And you don't deal the damage immediately.
Also, you're not a warlock.
So, if we're talking about overstated, this is overstated.
And like, good overstated. 5/7 is an amazing stat line to have as on a 4-drop. Even as a 6-drop with Smug Senior, it's a pretty damn good stat line to have. At 4, it's perfect.
So, if you played Arena in like 2017 and you just came back, thank you for coming back, by the way. You just came back and you looked at this card and it's like, why isn't this S tier? Because in 2017 or you know, earlier days of Hearthstone, you would look at this and you're just like, this is literally the best game that, or not the best game. I don't think anyone thinks that. This is literally the best card that Blizzard has ever printed. And the game has changed. This is, yes, ridiculously overstated in such a perfect way, right? Like the 5 attack is perfect for dominating basically every single 4-drop.
Yep.
And a lot of 5-drops as well. And then you put all the rest of the overstatedness into health. It's beautiful. It's fantastic. You can delay the death rattle. You can plan for it. It's great. Pure stats don't exactly win games anymore. They matter and they can win games, but stats don't win games as often as they once did. Also, face damage has become more and more important to an incredible degree because there's a lot of swings. There's just a lot of surprises as well. That face damage cushion is really important for you to keep your options open. When you are closing off your options because you have low health,
Mm-hmm.
it really limits kind of the goodness of your deck.
Like, think about how the game plays, right? We talked about our themes from before. You have a lot of curve, you have a lot of extra tempo. You've seen these cards. You're just getting a lot of extra tempo in this game now. You're also going to see, when we get to the class cards, a lot of board clears. And you know what's going on with Mean Streets of Kajikzan if you were playing during that era. A lot of double-sided board clears, a lot of cheap board clears. Just swings. The board is going to be very important, but it's going to be a swingy board, back and forth, even more so than what you've seen last year. And last year was a pretty swingy board kind of year. And in a swingy board situation, your opponent swings the board, plops down a bunch of stuff, that's 12 damage to your face next turn. So if you don't immediately swing back, you need to be able to take 12 to the face and not die. Like, always. And every time your opponent swings, they'll do 12 damage to your face. And every time you swing, you'll do 12 damage to your opponent's face. So that extra 5 damage to your face, it matters so much now. It is not the same as earlier. I think this is one of those cards that you'll see some people rate like a 5 out of 5 or like a 4.5 out of 5, which would be our equivalent of like at least an A. And we have it as a B. It's not even a B plus. Just because we love the stat line too, but the penalty is real. And the stat line is not what it used to be in terms of just how much that matters. Like, you can't get a better stat line than this, but still.
So there it is, Darkspear Berserker. Next, we have Injured Marauder. Injured Marauder is a 4-mana, 5/10 taunt, battle cry, deal 6 damage to this minion. So look. It's Evil Heckler with some small amount of upside. I think some people are going to look at it and just be like, wait, this is not as good as everything else. Isn't it just vanilla statted? No, it has taunt and it has some upside. There are certain ways to heal it, but I think
it's a low B, right? Like, yeah, we didn't want to put it as a C plus. We're not saying that this is on the that you would take this over the Darkspear Berserker, right?
No.
We're just saying that overall they're both B tier. Like, we're not doing a system where we have individual points, right? Where it goes up to is this a 122 or a 135? That's a big difference. We're not doing that anymore. So like, if this is a 140 and the other one's a 160, they're going to end up in the same tier.
Right. So if you're saying like, oh, it's not a B, it's a C plus, sure. We're probably really close there.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we just like this a tad bit more. So if you want to say that this is, a C plus, I think we're right there with you guys, and that's fine. But also, I like the taunt factor. I think Evil Heckler has always been better than people just at a glance give it, and then once they play with it, they're like, oh wow, Evil Heckler is like really, really, really freaking good.
People seem to like really undervalue taunts when it's on a minion that has more attack than health, but it's not that bad on a minion with more attack than health. We rated Evil Heckler very high when it was released, and then we never dropped it because it was that good.
Yep. Okay. Next card that we got is Burning Blade Acolyte. Burning Blade Acolyte is 5 mana, 1/1 Death Rattle. Summon a 5/8 demon spawn with taunt. The demon spawn is a demon, so it's 5 mana, and it becomes a 1/1, which isn't that great. And then it becomes a super overstated minion with taunt. So it does get delayed. However, you get something overstated with taunt, and if you just got something overstated, that would have not been so good. But it does have an impact on the board because it is able to taunt. So it's not like Twilight Summoner where you just summon a thing and it's just a vanilla minion. At least this forces your opponent to interact with it in some way.
Yep. Like, B tier is good. This is where Basilisk is. It's a strong card. It's a strong 5-drop.
Yeah. So look, this is a B. I wouldn't say it's a strong B at all, right? Like, in my opinion, this is like it's a B. That's just
solid
where it is. It's a solid B, right? Okay. Next we're doing legendaries as well,
Yeah, we're
right?
doing legendaries as well.
Oh, so by the way, guys, legendaries are now getting lumped into everything. We've changed. Everything has changed. So next we have a legendary card. Ooh, it is Shadow Hunter Vol'jin. Shadow Hunter Vol'jin is a 5 mana, 3/6 battle cry. Choose a minion, swap it with a random one in its owner's hand. It's a B. So it's understated. You get to swap a minion on the board with something in their hand. And if you're doing that, typically the minion that you're putting back into their hand is something that
Is
on
big.
average is it like it can't get worse. Knock on wood. It can't be worse than that
It's
minion.
scary.
It's big, it's scary, and you need to just sort of deal with it this turn. At least make them pay the mana again, right?
Yep.
So yes, there will be like Trollden moments where you're like, oh man, it can't possibly be any worse than this, and then of course it gets worse than that. But
Okay.
it's fine. It's a B.
This is literally what happened before, right? Like primordial, not primordial. The 8 mana dragon that pops out a 7-drop puts out the snake that summons something with 5 attack or more when it dies, and that pulls out his other primordial drake. I mean, not primordial drake. What is that? Why am I missing the 8-drop? The 8-drop dragon.
Yeah, proto
Drake, right. Because primordial drake is the one that does board clears. But yeah, proto drake. So he proto drakes into a 7 damage snake that then summons his other proto drake. I don't even know what he got from the second proto drake. I think I just died there. Right. But yeah, like it happens. But you do what you do.
So this is a B because of the average tempo gain that you're able to use it on. Now,
also the RNG is hurting it a lot. This is actually if it actually works the way it's supposed to, it's better than a B. It's a sap, right? And then you replace it with what's an average minion these days, especially considering all the battle cries and whatever, a 4/4 or 4/5, whatever, right? Like it's hugely good, and you get rid of taunts that you may need to. You may get rid of death rattles, like you get rid of all sorts of things, and it's decently statted. It's not great stats, but it's okay. But the RNG it really hurts it.
Yep. And you can also use this on your own stuff as well.
Yeah, you can set it up.
Try to high roll. So that's been taken into consideration. But once again, it's the gamble, the risk, and everything. So this is a solid B. But anyways, those are our B plus and B units. Lots of good stuff here. I think if you looked at all of these cards and you're just like, okay, well, what if my deck was predominantly B plus units? You're going to win a lot of games.
Yeah.
You're going to win a ton of games because these are really freaking good.
Yep. Remember, our tier system is very harsh. B's, I don't know. Or maybe I'm very Asian. I don't think B's are terribly great. But B's are good in our tier list system. Like they're not like average. They're like quite notably, significantly above average. Like you're good with these cards. So yeah, I think all of them would be considered premium in different metas. But the power creep has just gotten to the point that the B pluses are maybe premium, maybe low premium, and the Bs are low premium at best. Which is fine, but that's just where we are right now. I want to give a shout out to David Attenborough Says, who is going to be uploading all of this onto YouTube, who made the thumbnails. If you're watching this on YouTube right now, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you are not watching this on YouTube and you think, oh my god, these guys have a YouTube, youtube.com/grinninggoat, and you can see our beautiful faces, all of our expressions, and probably much more importantly, the cards as we're talking about them. So yeah, shout out David Attenborough Says. And we will see you in the next video when we talk about the C tier, also known as the slightly above Yeti tier. Until then, this is ADWCTA.
This is Burp. See you guys.